Hello, Real Talk with Mo. Glad you joined me. Hope you're having a great day, great night, great morning, whatever it is when you're listening to me. I hope everything is going well. Wish nothing but the best. Check me out, Real Talk with Mo. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Also, the Lou and Mo podcast. Check that out. Also, CB Lifestyle and Apparel is the wear. We got some new items. Go check them out. CB stands for Counting Blessings, Chasing Billions. So everybody can get with that program. So check me out there. I want to talk about something real quick, man. And it kind of, this is how I base my, pretty much everything, my opinion, the way I think about things and everything. And this is kind of how I get to where I get to in my thinking. And I don't know if a lot of people think like that, or if they even try to think why they think the way they think, which is a good thing. It's self-awareness, learning about yourself. And then you can see where you maybe could change some of your thinking, maybe how you get yourself into trouble, how you're not, developing. It's a bunch of things. Just self-awareness is great. So I notice this a lot with a lot of people, man. A lot of people, responsibility and accountability is huge, major things in life, right? Because if you don't take responsibility for most of the things in your life, then you can't. If you don't take responsibility for the things in your life, then you can't control them. You can't change them, right? If you give that to somebody else, right, and you give them the power in that situation, then you gotta wait for them to change it or them to fix it for you to succeed. And nobody that's successful ever did that, right? There's no success story. Nobody's anybody that you can think of. I don't care if it's in music, it could be in finance, it could be in whatever it is, right? You're never going to hear anybody tell you, right, that as soon as this happened, that these people started to do this, or this person started to do this, or this group did this, then that's when I became successful, right? Because everybody, this is the funny thing about this, and when I'm talking about this particular topic, is when people are successful, they don't blame anybody on their success, right? And when I say that, it's the same thing as when they're not successful, they find everybody else to blame. And it's so funny that, when you do become successful, you do something really well, some people do, for the most part, some people do, say it's because of so-and-so, or sometimes, right? Just like when somebody, does something that's not right or fails, they do, they love to blame other people. But when it's the opposite way and you do succeed, it's I did it on my own. I'm self-made. I did everything myself, blah, 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 blah. Did it on my own, did that, right? That's what you hear all the time from people who are actually successful, or people that we listen to that, actually did something well or whatever, right? They did it on their own, right? Sometimes they do, give shout outs to people that helped them along the way. But those are people that have came into their success and understood responsibility and accountability and all that stuff, right? They'll tell you about it, they'll explain it to you. But people who fail, they love to do that. They love to put the blame on people or reasons why they didn't do it, right? And it's mostly other people or other situations or the government or groups or whatever it is, right? Love to do that, right? And then when they make it successful, then it's all them. They did everything themselves. So it's like you can't have it both ways, right? If your reason for success is because of other people, then if your reason for failure is from other people, then that means your reason for success is from it too. But my whole point is, to get to my point is, I don't believe it goes to anybody else but yourself. So if you take accountability and responsibility for your actions, no matter what the situation is, I very rarely, that's why when I was talking on one of my Lou and Mo podcasts, I was talking about it was, we were trying to give solutions for income and why, rent's high and all this and that, right? And I said, there's no broad answer for everybody. It's all going to be an individual answer because people aren't all in individual situations. That's why I don't go for the government. I don't go for all that. I don't see that they're going to have a broad answer that's going to help everybody, right? It might not even help majority half the time, right? Sometimes it helps the least at the bottom. It helps the extremes most of the time, right? It's the same thing when we talk about with the rich and the tax cuts and all that. It helps the extremes, but it never helps the people in between, which is the 80% of the people, right? The 75% of the people are in the middle, right? It never helps those people because it's so broad and there's so many different layers before you get to the top, or before you even get to the bottom. There's layers before that. And it never helps anybody. And that's why I say the government is not the answer, right? Individual pursuits of happiness, individual pursuits of what you want to get to, right? Your goals and everything is how you make it happen. And the problem is the government most of the time gets in the way because they add an extra layer, because they're trying to help either the bottom or the super top, right? They're trying to help the bottom or the top. It's just, that's what it is, right? Because there's no answer for that for the middle people. It's you taking accountability and responsibility to either to move up or to let yourself go down. And we get in this conversation all the time, and I could go, any situation you go to, I can show you there's some accountability. You gotta take some accountability, some responsibility. You can't take all the good and then not take none of the bad, right? I can't do that, right? Raising kids is an example of that, right? You can't take all the good, you can't take all the bad, right? You have to do as much as you can, what you can. I think, give a good example, be there, do all the parenting things that everybody talks about. But when it's bad, sometimes you can't take it. Sometimes it gets bigger than it's sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you can't take all the good, you can't take all the bad is what I'm trying to say, right? Because there's things that you're talking about, a person, an individual, and I'm getting off topic with the kid thing because that's another route. But what I'm saying is, if you have to take accountability and responsibility for your life, if you're failing, if you're not doing well, if you don't have a good job, it's gonna be you, right? Because if you don't put it on you, then you can't fix it. You're waiting for the world to fix itself. You're waiting for the world to be, less racist, or you're waiting for the world to be less sexist, or less whatever it is. You're waiting on the world to do it. It ain't gonna happen. It never happens, right? Because we're talking about 300 in America. We're talking about 330 million individuals, right? Not all everybody adults, but you're talking about a large amount of people that you all want to see your way. That's not gonna happen on any given day. But if you go out there and you pursue your goals and your dreams, and you push hard and you work hard to do that every day, you focus on that, push that, grow that, then especially, easy things are like health, right? Nobody's controlling that. We still find ways to blame people about health, which is the craziest thing to me, right? We'll blame General Mills, right, for their cereal having too much. Don't eat General Mills cereal. Nobody's forced to do anything. That's what I'm saying. That's why when they say when you take accountability and responsibility, it's the only way you're going to be able to fix it, because nobody's forced to eat anything they don't want to eat, right? Not forced to do any of that. We got a selection at the grocery store, for the most part, everything. You can go to Whole Foods, you got places down here, Sprouts, all that shit, right? But, you know what I mean? But we have to take accountability and responsibility. Health is one easy one, right? Financially is another one, right? You know what I mean? As long as you can go get a job, right? Make money, save money, right? Know where to spend the money, find out what you're doing wrong with the money. And these things, these are all up to you. If you leave them to somebody else, they're not going to get done. And I don't know how many times I got to say that. But you can't, my whole point is the accountability and responsibility, you have to take it on yourself. Right? And I hate that people take it. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be responsible. And it ends up, you know what I mean? Then they end up going to blame because they want to blame somebody for something, for some situation. Right? And it's so crazy to me, man. I see it all the time. And we can't do that. You're not going to win like that. You're not going to move forward. You're not going to grow. You got to take accountability and responsibility for your actions, for your consequences, for whatever things goes on. That's just life, right? But once you do that, you can control it now. Now you know what you did wrong, right? You figure out what you did wrong. You figure out what's going to lead you down the wrong path, right? You figure out who not to be around. You figure out what not to do, right? You figure these things out. If you leave it to somebody else, they're not going to figure it out for you because they're worried about their own shit, right? Politicians, presidents, whatever it is, they worry about their own shit all the time too. They're humans. Again, I say this on every video because I want people to, if people start to think like this, I think we'd be in a whole different situation, right? Every human, all 8 billion, 9 billion, I don't know what we're up to right now, is vain, ignorant, lazy, greedy, selfish, and ambitious. Every human. I learned that in a Brian Tracy book years ago. And it come to terms with, I had to come and understand it, like, this is the truth. And I see it in everybody. That's why I don't let humans let me down, right? Humans, they don't let me down, right? I mean, they always let me down. But, sorry, let me say that. Humans always let me down, right? Because I know that they're flawed, right? If you put your faith in God, you know he won't let you down. But everybody puts their faith in humans, and then they let them down, and then they're upset. I know they're going to let me down. Right? Because they have those 6 characteristics, and they're pursuing their own goals and their own dreams. And sometimes that's not for me. Somebody else's goals and dreams ain't for me all the time. Right? There's people that I align myself with, that we on the same path, but for the most part, they're not for me. That's for you to individually pursue your goals and dreams. You know what I mean? And I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? Most time, I would say 90% of the time, maybe even 89%, when people are doing that, it doesn't hurt anybody else. It doesn't stop me from pursuing mine. If I'm pursuing mine, he's pursuing his, right? We can both get there, right? The pie is big enough. We both can have the opportunity to get there. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. So I'm not worried about him doing that, and I'm not mad at him for doing that. Or I'm not mad at somebody for succeeding and doing what they wanted to do. But we get in this mentality where we think if somebody else wins, somebody has to lose, and that's not true, right? That's not true, right? Everybody can win, but we all gonna win at different levels, and we gotta understand that too, because we all put in different efforts. Like, we all didn't, when we went to go bet, we all didn't put all in, right? Some of us put in a little bit, some of us, betted on the side, some of us didn't put in no money at all, and we can still win, right? We're just gonna have less of the pie. We're gonna have less of the pot. Right? If you ain't put it all in, if you ain't sacrificed your whole career, if you ain't sacrificed this or do that, then maybe you don't get this much. You know what I mean? So, especially in America, man, like, I think people need to travel outside the country. I haven't been outside since, COVID. Well, I've been to Mexico a few times. Actually, I went to a couple places, but you know what I mean? Because of the COVID and all that, and, vaccines and all the vaccination and all that bullshit. So, but I'm going, but I've been there. I've been to other places. I see it, right? So that's what I'm saying. Take accountability, be responsible for all your actions. Who you married, who you had kids with, where you live, what kind of job you got, right? Where your life is going, how your kids are turning out. Take responsibility, man. It sounds like a lot, but at least you can fix it. At least you can look at it and be like, oh, can't get with that type of person anymore. I had kids with the wrong person, but you know what? I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna do this and this and this and that. Right? I grew up in a bad neighborhood, but you know what? I could do this and this and this and that, overcome this and that. Right? You could do that. If you leave it to somebody else, they're not gonna fix it. Right? It's just gonna make your situation worse, probably. So that's all I'm saying. Take accountability, be responsible, take responsibility. Your life will change dramatically, I promise you. You'll feel better about it. You'll just have a different look at life, man. So you know what I mean? I'm telling you. Check me out, Real Talk with Mo, CB Lifestyle Apparel is the wear. We'll see you on the next one.